So let's have a look at TRVL. TRVL's, we've been having a conversation on TRVL on Telegram. I'm going to kind of show you again. It's quite interesting reading what people have to say. Let's have a look at the charts first, TRVL charts, and see what's going on. Yesterday, I had a look at TRVL. I came up with a possible way forwards to higher prices. I mapped it out based on Elliott waves and based on the current position of where we are now on the charts and how we can get to higher prices and what kind of needs to happen next. And I just mapped it out. I mapped it out. I think if we can break, effectively what I said was if we can break this area, these highs with volume, get some kind of back test, we can probably push up to the golden pocket. And then you have a higher time frame corrective move to rehold this broken area as a neckline, and then we have a chance of going to all-time highs. I think at the moment that's kind of where I'm at. The only way this changes, I think, is there's certain things that can change this. Okay, so while I've mapped out a possible trajectory, I've mapped it out based on nothing at all, just based on Elliott waves and technicals. There's no outside influence in this approach. Yeah, I'm not contemplating anything other than where the project is right now, the movement of the price, the movement of the waves, and ultimately everything correlates to the price action of Bitcoin and the altcoin market that follows. Okay, and this is a kind of a planned trajectory based on nothing else. But what's interesting is that I've noticed now there's a little bit of noise in Dtravel's Telegram, and so I haven't actually participated in that noise. Usually I do. Usually I'm quite outspoken and I just say what I feel, and you know, I say shit and see what happens. Actually, what I did was I read people's conversations. I've just been posting my videos as I do. As you can see on my videos, if you look at my videos, I'm always bullish. I never say anything kind of too bearish. I've always been, generally speaking, I'm quite bullish. I tell people what needs to happen and where it's going maybe. Then I saw kind of like this conversation here about volume and about how to increase the volume. I think that's what's on people's minds. The volume is the liquidity and the volume is on what people's minds. Then some people are saying that market making, poor volume, poor marketing, etc. And here it says this guy Tech Red Hat saying, I'm telling you, team care zero about volume. And he's making a very good point actually, saying team does not understand that price discovery itself is a part of marketing. Anyway, I never initiated any of these conversations. I'm just a spectator, and I'm just kind of here. I'm just interested to see what's being said. And so it's quite interesting that these conversations are rearing their head again. And I think a lot of people who've been following TRVL and Dtravel will know that back in December, back in January, December last year, November, December last year, January this year, February, I was a very active critic of certain aspects of the project. And I was quite vocal about it. We had kind of a lot of intensive discussions and debates about Dtravel and about TRVL, and effectively what's happening is that people are saying the same thing now. Like, I haven't raised any of these issues, to be honest with you. I've just been doing my thing, charting crypto and just being extremely bullish. But now you're getting some people say exactly the same thing. It's quite unusual that we're in November, December now, like a year after I initiated some of those conversations, and some people are just saying the same thing. Okay, and that's kind of why you have the little bit of kind of this sentiment. That's why. Okay, and I'm not really in the business of kind of chastising people or correcting people, especially when people working hard are trying their best and they mean well. And I can tell you that there's no one in Dtravel that isn't trying their hardest and doesn't mean well. Okay, but fundamentally there is obviously some issues that haven't been addressed or resolved. Okay, and I think it's important that we don't kind of panic because that causes kind of FUD. We don't want to create FUD. We don't want to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I can tell you that in the conversations that I've been having with certain people and people who matter, that they are basically ready to throw everything at TRVL, basically. That's kind of the conversations that I've been having with certain people. I don't want to kind of bring their names up or throw them under the boat as to who they are, but you probably know because I've already mentioned the names in the past. It seems like right now they're in the position of throwing everything at the price. It seems like it. It seems like there's some changes on the horizon. And what we actually need is for all of that to happen quickly. That's what we need. We need it to happen quickly. And the reason why is because we need the market to have an opportunity to sell and buy. Because as the price of TRVL goes up, you're naturally going to get selling. And then you need to go up quickly so that there's opportunity for people to buy back in, to reaccumulate. Reaccumulation is an important part of the price action. Yeah, you can't go up slowly. You have to go up a little bit quickly, impulsively, effectively, to higher prices as quickly as possible with volume, and you have to get as high as possible. And then you want to see corrections, which are the reaccumulation structures which form, coming back to retest areas that have been broken. Okay, and so I've told them that we really need to move fast now. We're in December. Potentially, if it mimics, and this is the thing, we don't really know what the bull market has ahead of us. A lot of people are saying this, a lot of people are saying that, some people are saying something else. Yeah, like everyone is saying something different. I think without knowing what's going to happen, we have to assume that it's probably going to happen like last time until it doesn't. And at the moment, there are certain signs which are pointing to something similar to either the 2021 market or the 2017 market. The 2021 market, we had a crazy alt season somewhere between January of 21 and towards the end of April. So that's our window, isn't it? We have about 4-month window, maybe 5. And that correlates to this fib time pivot that I have at the end of April. You see, this is our window now to get the price up as high as possible. And really, we need to break this structure and we need to push as high as possible. Yeah. Now, I don't mind if we go to all-time high in the next 2 months. Honestly, the higher the better. Yeah, I don't mind if I'm wrong here. I would like us to be at all-time high by the end of next month, personally. Go up in one straight candle. Let's just break this and then let people take their profit. And then we have a month or two to reaccumulate. And then maybe we have a chance in March or April to expand again. And so in my mind, I'm thinking we need to expand as far as possible now. Let people take their profit and then let them reaccumulate so we can expand again. We kind of need to expand twice in the next 5 months. That's what I'm thinking. And while I've got a very conservative price action here, you know, who knows? No one knows how this can go forward. But when I was kind of like, I didn't really kind of interject in that conversation yesterday. I kind of asked Grock what Grock thinks. So I'm kind of using Grock a lot these days. What I did was I copied and pasted the conversation. I say, hey, Grock, what do you think of this? Tell me your points. Tell me your thoughts. And Grock gave a really detailed explanation. And it was quite interesting because I didn't really think AI could be that intelligent until I started using Grock, and I'm starting to actually come to appreciate the intelligence, actually, surprisingly. So this is my kind of cut and paste of what Grock says. Effectively, Grock is agreeing with everyone. And then also Grock is basically saying that while, and this is the conclusion, it's quite interesting. In conclusion, while the team's dedication to building a strong product is commendable, integrating efforts to boost TRVL's price and volume during this bull run can significantly amplify the project's reach, credibility, and success, aligning with a broader goal of creating a robust and widely adopted ecosystem. And like I said, I didn't write this, Grock did this, but in a gist, yeah, I think we're at a really critical moment where the people who are actually leading this project have to now change gears. We need a shift. Okay, we need a shift of gears, and I think all eyes and all attention has to be on the TRVL price now, increasing volume, increasing liquidity, increasing exposure of the token. And so historically, the token has never been a prime objective of Dtravel. It just hasn't been. Okay, and so when I hosted the Gate event in London in October last year, certain people in Dtravel came. They didn't talk about the token. It was quite interesting, and it was quite frustrating at the same time, because the people that I gathered wanted to hear about the token. They wanted to hear about everything about the token. They didn't get anything of the token. And so we had a conversation about this afterwards, and actually it came to my understanding that Dtravel weren't interested in pushing the token because they were focusing on the real world aspect of the business, the listings, the hosting, and all the kind of the business model itself. And their assumption was that the business would drive the value of the token. Well, last year the problem was that the token, there was no correlation between the value of the business and the token. So I pushed for that changed. Yeah, I really pushed hard, and we basically changed the tokenomics. The tokenomics I actually disagreed with. Yeah, and so people will know that I didn't agree with the tokenomics at the time, and I just had a different idea in mind when I was thinking about tokenomics and Dtravel. Okay, and I never got what I wanted. I'm still around. Yeah, we can agree to disagree. And now if you want to go and have a look at the tokens, I don't think it's bad. Like, honestly, when I look at the tokenomics, I actually like the tokenomics. I think the biggest problem with the tokenomics is that it's for a well-established business in the future. Yeah, and you can find the tokenomics if you go to learn. I think you go to documentation and you can go to the tokenomics. You can learn about the tokenomics, what they've developed, what they've created is a vision of the future. Okay, the future, I'm trying to find it when I'm talking. The future is a fully working business, real world business, with hundreds of thousands of properties, tens of thousands of visitors traveling every day, booking. And then you have a tokenomics package, and also the application to do with Night Protocol requires other operators, not operators, but other what is it called, other entities to participate as well. I call it entities, I think there's a word for it. And this is the vision of the future if the business is working and succeeding. Yeah, but to get to that place, the rewards are just not adequate enough. It's just not. I've always said this from the beginning. Like, I've processed like 25 transactions on Dtravel. Yeah, and it's in like over $45,000 worth of value for Dtravel. I've done that. Yeah, it's a good portion of the percentage of the value, and the rewards that I get back, or I've got back from Dtravel, hasn't really justified my time and effort to push Dtravel. Honestly, it hasn't. Like, and when you go and look at Bitcoin, in the beginning, Bitcoin, the early adopters were all incentivized because they were getting a shit ton of Bitcoin for mining, and then it halved and it halved, and then the processor power needed to increase, became harder and harder. But by that time, the network had exploded, right? And so it became this competitive network to try and mine these Bitcoin. But to get there, they had to over reward or overcompensate the original gangsters, the early adopters. And so now you've got people like Max Kaiser and people like that, the original gangsters who were multi-billionaires, and they were heavily rewarded. But actually, if you look at how Bitcoin grew, they made it grow because they were the first adopters, and they were the true believers of their network, of their token, of their protocol that they were developing. We haven't created a tokenomics which does that. Okay, and so naturally it's been slow. The real world business hasn't been fast. Okay, it hasn't been fast to grow. I see growth. Okay, so I'm just trying to think, where is the I have to find it actually, because I can't remember where it is. You can actually go and have a look. I have to find it because I can't remember. I think I saved it in my favorites, but it's probably easier to just go onto the X page, and in one of these posts you can probably find it. This one, June, yeah, that's it, June. And I've been really bullish on this as well. Like, I'm not bearish on the analytics either. Okay, I'm actually really bullish on this as well. Like, I think this is quite good growth. But the reality is that last year when I started streaming, I said by next year we really need to be at 100,000 listings. Yeah, and we're only at 3,844. Okay, if we were at 100,000 by now, you're not looking at a $20 million token. You'll probably be looking at a $1 billion token, really. And part of the reason why we're not there is because the tokenomics doesn't reward hosts. It really doesn't. The only reward that hosts get, well, I'm not sure actually. I'm not quite sure what rewards hosts get. I've always thought, what are the rewards that hosts gets? And I'm not quite sure. The 3% TRVL return is nothing. It doesn't necessarily justify it. I guess I can give my guests cheaper prices, return guests, but it's not like every guest, you know, like it's like 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 guests might be a return guest and I can always just tell them to book through Airbnb, and they probably will. Yeah, most of my return guests, they like it cheaper, but you know, if I tell them just book through Airbnb, they probably will. If I don't give them a choice, they probably will. So it's not like they don't come back because it's not as cheap as Airbnb. They will come back. It's just that I can now reward my guests by giving them a slightly cheaper price. It doesn't benefit me, and it certainly doesn't benefit Dtravel per se. Okay, so I think actually this has been quite slow. And in the context of a crypto bull market, it's not enough. It's not enough. Okay, it's not exponential, is it? And actually, you can looking at this right now. It's kind of slightly tapering off. I think the explosiveness here was that marketing thing that they developed, the season 1 of the rewards. Okay, and even that, I don't know how lucrative it is for people to participate in that. I'm not 100%. Like, I haven't participated because the TRVL that I get back isn't really significant. The time that I spend, I can just go and buy TRVL. Why would I waste my time? I can go and get a job and buy TRVL. I'll get more TRVL than to spend my time doing stuff. And so at the beginning, when you're trying to grow a network or this kind of new protocol, you have to over reward or overcompensate. So we've kind of missed our opportunity, I think. We've missed our opportunity twice. First, in the ability to create a tokenomics which can push and build the network quickly. We've missed that. Okay, I didn't want to say I told you so, but I did say, I made videos on it. I think this is good though. I don't think this is bad, but it requires the network to grow to 100,000 plus. It has to be a vibrant ecosystem, a vision of the future, but not a vision of now. Okay, and then the other thing that we failed to do is, because we've spent so much time trying to build this, and it's not easy. Yeah, it's quite complicated, and nothing here is actually active yet. So there's been a lot of things they've been trying to build, and none of it's ready yet. Maybe staking could be ready soon, but you see, it takes time to build this stuff. It's not easy, and it's certainly not easy to explain. And also people are saying, well, how much is TRVL going to be burned? Not much, because it's only going to be a percentage of the average booking value. Yeah, so in the last year, the average booking value was, on average, it's $128,000. Times that by 3%, that's only $25,000. So only $25,000. I don't know how much of that is going to be burned. I'm not very clear on that, to be honest. It might be half. I don't know. It's not very clear here, because I don't think all of it's going to be burned, because it says some of it gets recycled. It's not very clear. Again, it's a vision of the future. If you have $25 million worth of transactions in a year, or 2.5 billion, then sure, you can actually get a sizable burn which will have a massive impact on the value of TRVL. But we're so far from that future right now, just based on this growth right now. It would have to be a seismic shift in growth, exponential, in a very parabolic way to get to that future. And so we missed that opportunity. So in the context of the next few months, which is going to be alt season 2.0 potentially, the only thing that we can do now, if we want to see TRVL go up, the only thing is to listen to Grock. Let's literally, yeah, we have to listen to Grock. And this is Grock's point of view. He's basically agreeing with the community. Yeah, literally. And Grock even says that the token value itself is marketing. Price discovery is marketing. And so the struggle that Dtravel may or may not have had has been marketing. But if they would have just spent their time focusing on increasing the price of TRVL, then they may not have had the problem with marketing, because it would have just marketed itself. In the bull market, higher prices, price discovery markets itself. And short of the ecosystem, the real world ecosystem exploding, unless we basically listen to Grock and basically run like crazy now and pour everything into all of these points that these different people are suggesting. Not me, yeah. I made these points last year, exactly the same points, to be honest with you, in many videos. I lost those battles, unfortunately. And here you got Jeffrey mentions, you know, these are other people, these aren't me, Wales and Tech Red Hat. You know, different people are saying different things, and they're basically saying the same thing. I've had people approach me personally, friends, who've said the same thing, and I've passed all of that feedback discreetly to the powers that be. But right now we have an opportunity, okay? It's an opportunity to explode based on a different list of priorities, okay? And there can't be any, there can be no longer any hesitation to the future of Dtravel, of the way we push forward. There can't be, yeah? Any more hesitations now and we're in trouble, yeah? And I tell you that out of kindness. And I think anyone who's watching these videos, you have to now consider your help. I need your help, basically. I need your help to understand what I'm saying, and then also understand what needs to happen. Ultimately, Dtravel needs to now listen to Grock, needs to AI. And for some reason, AI is actually quite smart, and it's kind of on point, and it's affirming what the community is saying. Short of strong leadership, which takes us in the correct direction, I think the community needs to now take a grasp of this project and take control of it. Okay, we have the power, because it's meant to be a DAO, even though the governance hasn't been implemented yet, which in itself for me has been a question that I've kept on repeating. I hope it will. I keep on asking. I'm just like you guys, honestly. I'm just another person. Okay, I don't have any power except some videos that I make, and it's just based to do my hobby, really. Trying to take down Airbnb is a hobby. But the community has the power now, and we have to push forward as a community. We have to do what we can do to realign the priorities of Dtravel and TRV on the project, and how it goes forward from now on. We're really at the crux of a breakout, but no, we can't have any more pandering. We can't have any more pandering to individual bias based on what individuals think or don't think. Yeah, what we have to do now is come together and focus on the things that matter, and it's everything to do with what these people have said and what Grock has commented on. So effectively, here are the points in Telegram. Go and have a look. This isn't me, this is Grock. Okay, I didn't even write this. I just said comment on this conversation. That's all. I just cut and paste and said comment on this. What do you think? And then also James replied, and then I said, here's how This is, I said, what do you think, Grock? What do you think to James's comments? And Grock has responded. Yeah. So this is AI having an interaction with Dtravel and giving its thoughts. And actually, I tend to agree with them because I kind of said some of these things last year. So we're at a really good place in the charts. It's a place where we can go up, but I think what we need to do now is we need to all participate in the direction of travel for the future. Okay, so let me just go back to the charts. Okay, so these are the charts right now. I think we are this is looking good, huh? This is looking really good. Yeah, but we're not going to go up just like that. Okay, we're going to need something. It's always the same, isn't it? You don't just go up. You need something. You need a kind of, you need a now, I've been talking about an exchange listing. I think it would be nice to consolidate, and I think actually it would be nice to get some kind of exchange listing once we're here to push into higher prices. I don't really want to see an exchange listing here because you could go up and reject, and that would look bearish. Okay, so when people are like asking when Coinbase, when this, when that, when blah, 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 just think to yourselves, right now is not the right place, and maybe not even the right time. Okay, we kind of need to be underneath the resistance that we want to break, because the exchange listing will clearly break that with the volume increase in price and increase in volume. As far as I can tell, it really needs to be, if we're going to get one soon, it has to be when the price is here. Okay, so what we need to do in the short term is get the price there. Okay, and then secondly, if and when the exchange listing comes, we need to defend that price. That's kind of why I imagined some kind of zone here which breaks and back tests, and that's why I kind of imagined an Elliott wave move like that. I think an exchange listing on Coinbase would bring in the volume that could help us do other things, like get on other exchanges, get on derivatives or perps, and attract new people to buy the token, to invest in the token, or get, because at the beginning of January, there's a lot of people going to be shopping around for tokens, aren't they? Because they're going to be anticipating an altcoin market, and so they'll go onto their favorite exchanges, i.e. Coinbase or whatever. They'll be going, oh, let's just buy these tokens. This is what's going to happen. So it helps, doesn't it? And then also what we need, and also the higher the price we get, the more attractive the more investors we can attract, because investors won't invest in a small market cap token. It's just not liquid enough for them. And also the project isn't substantial enough for them to do that. Okay, we're still not there. And then the other thing that could happen with higher prices is that Dtravel could actually take a little bit of profit. The community fund could take a little bit of profit. Dare I say profit? It's not really profit, but they can sell a little bit into that kind of high volume exchange listing, and then they can use that to aggressively market Dtravel and TRVL from January through to April, May. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do and achieve in that, and so this is kind of what I'm pushing for. So if the community wants to help, if you don't want to help, if you just want to kind of just sit on your thumbs and do nothing and let me do it, fine. But I mean, I would appreciate a little bit of help. I kind of think we need to break this level. I don't know how we're going to do it with the current philosophy and the trajectory and the kind of ideology that we've encountered in the past. This kind of I don't know what to call it, to be honest with you, but it's kind of like an altruistic vision of the future, not reality. Yeah, it's like, let's wait for mass adoption when we're not going to, crypto mass adoption may not happen for 10 years. Let's let the business organically grow. Well, that's not on a parabolic trajectory at the moment. Yeah, it might take some time. Let's wait for whatever. Let the community grow. Well, the community is slowly growing, but it's kind of not where some other communities are. Some other communities are growing much faster. Even some meme communities have gone from 0 to 100,000 in the space of 2 or 3 weeks. So we're kind of not ticking those boxes. So short of that, we don't really have many options. So I think we need to kind of all get on the same page as a community. We need to kind of ask for the same thing, which would be, let's get the price up, let's do whatever it takes to get the price up to these highs again, but you're going to need a high volume break. You're going to need it. Yeah, that honestly, that will require an exchange, a big exchange listing with the hype to match, and then we use the money extracted from that to reaccumulate back at the break level, and we can all participate in that endeavor. And then also at least Dtravel can then take that money and pour it into marketing. And they really have to pour I mean, I like to think big numbers, but it has to be ruthlessly liberal. Ruthlessly liberal. It has to be liberal spending. It has to be like spend. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just where we're at now. And then it just becomes about marketing, hype, speculative value for the future. The higher we go, the more attractive this becomes to future investors, the higher the price. And if we're lucky and we can get to all-time highs, which is 1.56, then we've put in a higher high. Okay, and from a technical perspective, we need, in this bull market, we need to put a higher high. Otherwise, we're in a higher time frame downtrend on a yearly level. Okay, and so this is what people don't understand about technical analysis. You need bullish market structure, otherwise the big investors who know the smart money won't get involved. They're not interested in trying to catch a bottom. They want to catch a higher low. Okay, so when you're looking at the original launch, which is on MEXC, that's the all-time high. On the higher time frame level, whether it's a 3-month time frame or even a higher time frame, a yearly level, yeah, you've gone and put in a high and you've taken the lows, you've put in a lower low. Okay, so it's not the other way around. We've put a high first and then taken the lows. That's bearish. Okay, that's bearish. That's not bullish, that's bearish. And what you need to do now is you need to take that high. We need, in this market, we have to take that high. That's priority. Honestly, for me, that's always been priority number one. But I've not been able to convince anyone. I've not been able to convince anyone that if you can't put a higher high in this bull market, then the next destination for the price is the lows. That's what happens. And you end up with higher time frame bearish market structure. You come all the way back down to the lows. And you might not get to the lows either, because the reality is it's possible for a multi-year consolidation range where you get higher lows, higher highs, until you end up breaking out. I'm not saying you would hit the lows if you went like that, but it's not going to be, it's going to be like a real slow burn. It's not really going to have, a lot of people will leave the project if that happens, to be honest with you. That's what I think. Okay, and that's not what we really want. I think what we really want, all of us, what we want is we want exponential growth. We want to take out Airbnb in the next few years. So we need to take out that high. We need to then start changing this to higher lows, higher highs. And then we can start aiming for $10 billion market cap, 50 bit extra X, Y, and Z. We can go higher and higher and higher that way. Okay. And then a lot of the big money will start getting interested if we can actually pull this off. That's my vision of the future, and then we'll see what happens. So I think right now, not Bitcoin, TRVL is just nicely consolidating here. I wonder why it didn't explode. I don't know. I can't explain why it hasn't exploded yet. Maybe because of the conversations that I'm reading in Telegram. Maybe because there's a little bit of hesitancy with what's happening with Dtravel and their priorities, and why they haven't addressed some of these issues. Like 1 year on, we're having exactly the same conversations. Volume, liquidity. Yeah. And actually, you guys have been having this conversation for 1 year. Guess what? I've been having this conversation for longer than you. And I'm still here. So I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. But the point is that something needs to change, right? We all agree on that. Yeah. And then there are some, I've got my critics, even within the Dtravel community, I've got some critics. But ultimately, I think I'm right. You know, and Grock thinks I'm right too. So as long as Grock thinks I'm right, that's all that matters. That's all I care about. Grock. So yeah, so this is kind of Dtravel. We need an oomph. We need something. So if you've watched this video, I hope you can kind of help me to do something. I don't know what, but let's start with engaging with the people who are kind of running the show, and then let's take it from there. Okay, that's kind of where I'm at. It's my Dtravel daily Dtravel update.